If you do what you love, you'll never work another day in your life. Melvin Holden, more affectionately known as Kip, absolutely loved politics, and with that, he loved the spotlight and perhaps the controversy, the infighting, and the battles often associated with the two. Some may argue his political journey started in the early 1980s, battling a long-term incumbent for a seat on the State House of Representatives. But it was actually 14 years earlier, September of 1969, when the student body at Scotlandville Senior High School voted Kip in as president. A model student, recognized often with honors, Holden also ran track at Scotlandville, and he was an Air Force cadet. Kip did not pursue the armed services, and instead he enrolled at LSU with a focus on journalism and TV broadcasting. One of his professors labeled him as a, quote, scoundrel and troublemaker when Kip applied for a $100 Sigma Delta Chi scholarship that led to a lawsuit, which Holden ultimately lost. Kip's interest in politics really took off in 1972 when he sought to become one of the delegates of the Constitutional Convention, writing, quote, "We need a constitution that will be permanent, a constitution that will still be good 50 years from now. Copies should be made available to everyone in the state and in a language understood by everybody." But Kip's first job out of college was not in politics. He became a journalist at WXOK Radio in 1975.
There were a number of incidences at schools in East Baton Rouge Parish.
By 1978, Holden was hired here at WBRZ as a reporter.
Extensive damage to several classrooms.
He mostly covered general assignment news, fires, police incidents, floods, and more. But it was clear he had a passion for politics and public service. And by 1980, Kip was back in the game, working not only for the mayoral campaign of Pat Screen, but also as a community relations officer for Baton Rouge Police. That continued throughout the 1980s. Kip ran for state representative in House District 63 in 1983 and lost in a runoff.
Councilman Kip Holden is
the next year, in 1984, he won a seat on the Metro Council, and he was so eager to begin public service, he started 2 months early, all while attending Southern University Law School.
Better luck next year.
By 1988, the state legislature came calling again, and this time he won, serving more than a decade.
Looking at things like alternative traffic management.
In 1996, it was clear. His goal was to become mayor. Kip ran for the first time, losing to the incumbent, Tom Ed McHugh.
We have had growth in Baton Rouge, not because of the mayor, but in spite of the mayor.
4 short years later, Kip's popularity was building, this time dominating the primary and heading to a runoff with Baker Mayor Bobby Simpson. But in the runoff, Republicans showed up and gave Bobby Simpson his first term.
Because of all of you, we've made a difference. Thank you, God bless you.
However, by 2004, Kip was elected to the mayor presidency, elected as the first African-American mayor in Baton Rouge, inaugurated in early 2005, and little did he know at that time what that year would bring.
But there is some hope.
Often referred to as the Katrina mayor, Kip guided the city parish through an historic time in Baton Rouge, one in which the population seemingly doubled overnight, and it wasn't clear if and when life would return to normal.
FEMA will allow us to bring in an urban planner.
But it did, and Kip's priority shifted back to building a better Baton Rouge. He took a defunct pothole tax and decided the city parish needed to completely dedicate time and resources into fixing our roads. Voters overwhelmingly passed the first green light plan, $2 billion worth of roadway and sewer improvements.
This is such a great night.
Kip easily won re-election in 2008 with 71% of the vote.
Let me thank
Kip
you.
Holden swept to victory election.
And again in 2012, defeating Metro Councilman Mike Walker with 60% of the vote in a race that was expected to be much, much closer.
83% said they're in favor of the loop.
Kip battled surrounding parish presidents in the push for a loop around Baton Rouge, a $4 billion idea at the time, and think of where we'd be right now if that were embraced more than 20 years ago. Kip wanted to restore the allure and life of downtown, and not once but twice tried to convince voters to pump more than $200 million into building Audubon Alive, a riverfront entertainment development.
This has been very nerve-wracking.
But the parish didn't want it. Kip instead focused on embracing and helping to implement Live After 5, the National Bowling Championship, the Miss USA pageant, the Bayou Country Superfest at Tiger Stadium, bike paths from downtown to the Le Barge Casino, the Government Street Road Diet, the HIV and AIDS Task Force devoted to education and prevention, economic development for minority-owned businesses, the idea of a $100 million tram connecting downtown to LSU that the following administration ultimately killed. When Kip took office, there was only one hotel in downtown Baton Rouge. Now there are half a dozen.
We don't think it's good for the city of Baton Rouge. And
he was adamantly against the idea of the city of St. George and back-channeled the annexation of L'Auberge Casino, the Mall of Louisiana, and other properties to retain tax dollars into the city parish coffers.
Removing debris as quickly as possibly.
His tenure as EBR Mayor-President started and ended with natural disasters, and he was criticized for what some perceived as absent during the flood of 2016. He thought big, and the price tag was often big. Kip absolutely believed in his core, Baton Rouge could become America's next great city. He leaves behind his wife Lois and 5 children.